Hi, today I'm going to show my latest LEGO creation. This one's called Ataraxis, and I think I'll start by spinning it around a bit so you can see it. I worked several months on this one, and in particular I think the lines came out quite nice. Just pull it back to the top. So there's quite a bit of shaping and facets and angles and other things happening here that I hope come together in a pleasing, harmonious way. One of the areas I worked the most on was this color blocking. So down here, cutting through the wing. This is at 53 degrees, I think. There are these dark azure and dark blue stripes. Each of the stripes is 2 plates thick. And they're sliding on top of one another. There's tiles along the top, and then they're offset from one another by 1.5 plates, which gave just the perfect angle here. And over through the top of the ship, I tried to do something similar to match that with the blocking and break it up. So there's again the light azure into the dark azure wedges, and that then converges in the front in this canopy. So I've taken these 2 Lego built canopies, extended them with some panels, and then carried the blocking through the front and down and around. There's some various panels and plates and the glass here cut in the middle. This was also a bit of a tricky bit to pull off. In order to make it just perfect, the blue bits are offset, I think, a 1/4 plate. I can see peeking out there, and it comes around from the top, meets from the bottom, hides these angles here with the cheese. I thought it came out pretty lovely. In between the fuselage and the wing, I spent quite a bit of time and just these filler sections to pull everything together, carrying through the engines and around and up into the guns. This bit, if I pull it up, I'll show how this all goes together later. But this filler section here in the center is off by 18 degrees, and then it comes around to hug the wing and cuts into something where it's both a side of various slopes and brackets and some tiles in between here just to make that perfect. And into the section itself, I've done some gymnastics to get some color blocking for this little angle. That cutting it looked pretty good. Drop it up like this. Okay. Into the wing itself. Here I used a mini of this old part. Maybe it's been out of commission, maybe about 20 years. It's an old slope that has studs on the edge. And I've got 3 and 4 here in the front section of the wing. I've also cut them in here, and here there are 2 sections which are opposed, and I've brought in to get the geometry just right. I've brought in a space of 1 plate basically between them, to separating these 4. To make that work, there's some interesting tile work which is coming up from below, and these door rails, which then led to some interesting texture. So I thought that came out pretty nice. Towards the back, the fuselage converges, and I've left things kind of open as it then comes back and fills in again. And that starts with this 1x1 brick section, which is also at 53 degrees. I'm using one of those nifty slopes from below to pull that off. And then and it cuts in just perfect with these with the various wedges and around this turret. There's a girder section here, and I wanted from the beginning to get something, some kind of greebly, colorful bit inside of the girder, and I'll show how I did that later. But the girder has, inconveniently for me, it has this like center divider section. So I've had to do something which looks like it comes together from 2 sides and just hugs that what's probably a half plate bit in the middle. As that converges back to the engines, I thought the engine section came together pretty well. I've got some blocking with the light bluish gray below up into the white. The angles match here and here intentionally. I think the lines look pretty nice. And I had to do some interesting gymnastics here to pull off in the back. This is brick built, set into about 18 degrees, set into this back section. And here I wanted the alternation of the dark azure, and there's a dark blue underneath that to match a little bit what I've done with the striping on the wings. And it cuts back then here. The exhaust ports are this nifty new part that just came out this year, and I thought would look pretty good back here. I should show the guns before I pull it up off the stand. So there are the two main guns here in the front. These are brought up underneath this arch piece, but there's no actual connection there. There's no tension. So in order to make that work, it's all held in from below in some two opposed bits, and so it's a half brick, half stud off from top to bottom, and then various things to get the stud reversal in the center of the gun section itself. And that then leaves these three turrets. The turrets actually elevate and rotate. So let me take this one. So it comes out from the ship and then can move. And here's like so. That was pretty fun. And with that, let me now pull it up off the stand. And so the stand comes off. And attempt to show you from below. Let me pull the camera back a bit. So this is what it looks like in the bottom. You can see the stand connects up in through here, and all kinds of mechanically interesting things to get the various shaping throughout up on the top. But I did play with colors and some exhaust ports and various other things below. I think it actually looks pretty good from the bottom as well. Okay. So back on the stand. And the stand itself, oops, I knocked this part a bit. The stand itself I thought was kind of fun. I had some open areas here. All right, cut through it. And so let me show you how Ataraxis comes together.
Speed up.
Earlier, I created each of these subcomponents. As you might expect, that took a long time and was super slow. But if you're interested, you can jump to a step-by-step video later using a link in this video's description. For now, I'll head directly to the final assembly.
All right, I'm going to begin the final assembly, and we'll start that with the center of the frame section. So I'll spin this a little bit around. The lime green bits are going to be supports so it can sit here on the desk without the stand. Okay. And to that center section, we'll attach these extensions that are built out and support the guns, and will be the strong strength for the wings. I'll just spin this around a bit. Let it catch the light. And you can see it built up around the gun, and then this entire section here is built for strength, and it will come in and attach to that center frame. Mirror image. So it looks like this. We're going to put the cockpit section into it. Cockpit that I constructed earlier. It's like this. I left off this fun little bit that wraps around the top here. And so I'll place that around the glass and drop that in. And lower the top section, nice and flush. Okay. So this cockpit section will drop in into the center of this main frame. The cheese on the front will match up with the cheese on the back edge of that gun section. And then importantly, this is going to pull strong across the sort of the horizontal piece of the frame. It latches everything in. Looks like this. And then to lock it, I'll use these 2x3 tiles. And so that will come down across 4 studs on each side. Okay. Now the cockpit section is latched in on the frame. The next bit is going to be the kind of side elements that sit between the frame. Do I need this? That sit between the frame and the guns, and I will pull one of these apart and then attach it. Let's see. This is the. Let me see which one I'm going to do. Good. This is the one from this side. Okay. So the assembled piece looks like this. And I'm going to pop off the tile at the top so I can take off this element to the side and get at this 45-degree slope with the cutout. And so then this piece, it will the assembly will latch in here up against that grilled cheese, right, 18 degrees. Comes around the back, like so, and then I will fiddle to get the this latched in using that slope. Ooh, that was smooth. All right. Okay, and so that's going to lock it in place. This piece is swung out at the moment because that will come back later after I slide the back of the fuselage and the engines in. And we need to reassemble this part along the top. So we'll do that. So. And same thing from this side. I'll take this little bit unit apart, pop out the slope, drop it in, and again, can be a little fiddly. Get this to latch. Right. Okay, looks nice. Bring the sides back, this side units back in, and again lock that from the top using this angled tile. Okay, so this is the frame so far. See from down below. Now we'll move to the back fuselage piece. And now moving to the engine and fuselage section. So here are the engines back into these girder sections that I built earlier. I popped off the bit with that holds the rear turret. You can see these kind of space guns opposed and held in place, so it looks like one greebly unit through the center of the frame section. So I achieve that. That's what it looks like from below, and the paneling that moves up to meet the exhaust ports, the thrusters, and the panel from the top as well, with the dark blue and dark azure. Okay. So I'm going to put the turret assembly back into place. Here's the elevator for the rear turret, and so it can go up and down. Drop that in place. And then this little sub-assembly caps that. Like so. Like this. Then this bit is going to go into the core of the fuselage, which I built before, and looks like this. And I really like this unit. So it's got some, so we've got these, in just a moment, this is going to slide in behind the cockpit. And the you can see we've got some stud reversal going on to bring this the dark azure up over the top where it cuts over these extended arms, back over, and then provide some cheese that'll catch the wedge later. And there's a little this bit on the tile is held at an angle to come in just right. And from below, you can see some of the magic is being done with those same 53-degree slopes, which are holding it here. So this section will receive the rear one with the engines. And this is also can be a little bit fiddly. Let's see what, oops, and I'm putting it backwards, so that's going to be a problem. So it'll go like this. And then I just need to get everything out of the way. So, nice. Perfect. Okay, so this is the rear section. And then moving back to the primary frame, it's here. So now on rails, this rear section is going to slide in. I really like this. It's great. Okay, looks like this. And to latch it in place, I have two wedges with a 2x4 plate, and that's going to come through here and lock across these now 4 studs. If I pull this back again, you can see it comes in, and this will lock it. I found this very pleasing. Okay, like so. So these little reverse bits that are of a panel of plates that I have swung up out of the way now can come back, and they will swing it into place, and it latches just up behind these cheese. Oops. And same thing on this side. Right. Okay. Great. All right. Now I will move with the other gun turret assembly bits. So those are. Let's see, and I've got 2 of these. So this I constructed earlier. It's going to hold the left and right guns, and again has a cutout inside for the elevator, allow the turret to come up, out, and rotate and change direction. And that will goes in right there. So, and we'll use one of these cut tiles to latch it. And this is providing a bit of strength, even extra strength for the front gun section as well. Same thing over on this side. Again, pull this up. There's a bit here where this cut tile is going to come in. Okay. All right, now we're going to move to the wing, to the wings that will come in and attach to the main body. I disassembled one of the wing components just to show how this went together again, because I think it's quite good. I worked on it for a long time. So this is that core section. This is the front of the port wing. You can see the insignia cut into it. I'm using the fact that it's 2 bricks thick to be able to have enough play to get in there and make that work. But for the striping bit along the edge, so every one of these stripes is offset. It's 1.5 plates from step to step in a kind of in a stair step kind of way. So to do that, I use these brick with side stud and then these inkwell parts. And the inkwell is a plate, and then into that is the stud itself is a half plate. So here's 1.5 plates for the first one, for the first offset. Next one comes in another 1.5 plates off, and it snaps right on top. That is then provides the base for the next step, which is 1 plate back the other direction, which leaves 1.5 plate gap. And the step below this one had yet another support for the last of the steps, which comes in top of these tiles. So from this side, looks like this. Here's the rear of the wing that I built before. Looks like so. And I'll take this from below. The intentionally colored orange plate is going to go into this place where we did the stud reversal into the underneath of the bracket. Oops, like so. Oops, sorry, before I did that, I forgot to, wrong order. Okay, so this is a bit of framing for strength. It's going to hold make the wing strong, hold the unit. It also covers a bunch of the gymnastics I was just showing off down from below. So it goes into this side of the wing like this, and then cap it using this little subassembly. Okay, so front of the wings ready. Now back to what I was doing earlier. So we can connect the angled bits. We'll connect in on that orange, on the orange stud, and then there's 4 studs into that cross, that kind of cross wing strut. And with the 2x4 tile, we'll lock that. So it's the wing unit. So moving back, here we are again with our main build. Okay. And oops, I didn't latch, cinch that up well. Okay. And from below, now the wing is going to attach in, and let me pull the camera back a bit. The wing's going to attach in on the 9 studs here that we left off on these angle bits. So let me get that. Nice. Okay, and then we can angle it up. Okay, it's probably at about 10 degrees relative to the overall body. To hold it in place, got a bracket, some bracket into a plate with some clips on top, and those nifty, relatively new plates with bars on both ends. and I will attach that into the wing. Then also a little fiddly, drop that down into this. Nice. Okay. Okay, same thing on the other side. And by this point, this model's starting to weigh a bit. Get it cinched in. Swing it up. From below. So these green things don't matter. Okay. Grab another one of these. Okay. All right. Almost done. So here where the wing comes into the main body, up underneath the support for that turret, I have this a bit where the stair step comes in, and we're going to cover that with tiles. So we use a cut tile, 2x2. Corner tile and another cut tile. Same thing over here. These 2x2 tiles all have there's a little milling mark on them. I'm crazy, so I prefer to hide it. Corner tile, cut tile. And that leaves the guns. And see if it's in place. And the one in the back is slightly elevated. Okay. So one last thing, I can put this up on the stand. Here's the stand that I created earlier. The ship can go on it facing either direction, and the stand itself is adjustable. So if we pop these open, I can take out the axle and change how canted the ship will be on top. So we don't need these lime green bits anymore. Cool. I'm going to pull the camera back a bit more. And attach it. Okay, so this is completed Ataraxis.
Shh.